There has been some ongoing discussions lately about the Xbox Series S holding back the technical potential and visual fidelity of new games. Adding a little bit of intrigue to the discussion, a lot of disparaging remarks made by developers about the Series S have been since removed from Twitter or privated, presumably voluntarily by the original posters, but there certainly does seem to be a bit of smoke here, so let's get into it. Last week, there was a ton of backlash from gamers online when they found out Gotham Knights is locked at 30 frames per second on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X without the option to choose a performance or gameplay mode that would bump the frame rate up to 60 frames per second. WB Montreal addressed the lack of a performance mode in their latest game directly. On the Gotham Knights Discord, the game's director Fleur Marty explained, due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in our highly detailed open world, it is not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. Largely unsatisfied with this answer, folks across the games industry and players alike began even further speculating online about what other types of features or issues could be preventing Gotham Knights from achieving 60 frames per second on next-gen consoles. In response, Rocksteady's senior character tech artist Lee Devenold waded into the discourse, specifically calling out the Xbox Series S in a series of now deleted tweets saying, "I wish gamers understood what 60 frames per second means in terms of all the things they lose to make the game run that fast, especially taking into account that we have a current gen console that's not much better than a last gen one." Devenold went on to remind folks that developers have to optimize for the lowest performing hardware and reiterated that Microsoft doesn't allow developers to release games on just the Series X or Series S, but they have to launch on both. Devenold then added an entire generation of games hamstrung by that potato. Now, these tweets whipped games Twitter up into a total frenzy, which eventually led to Devenold writing a lengthy apology before deleting his account. Devenold clarified that even though Rocksteady has the same parent company as WB Montreal, that he actually didn't know the specific reason Gotham Knights was unable to add a performance mode. Many doubled back down on what had been brought up before about the Series S as being the likely culprit, but there were also some reputable defenders. Jeff Gertzman, formerly of Giant Bomb, tweeted out, "The whole Series S is holding back next-gen games argument seems really broken to me. Most of these games also come to PC and already have to cover a wide variety of configs." Meaning, people have all sorts of different types of PCs, different types of graphics cards and things, and games on PC already have to account for lower end specs. However, in response, VFX artist Ian McClure, who works at I Am Fish at Bossa, the developer and publisher behind Surgeon Simulator, responded, "It might sound broken, but the reason you are hearing it a lot right now is because many developers have been sitting in meetings for the past year desperately trying to get Series S launch requirements dropped." McClure continued, "Studios have been through one development cycle where Series S turned out to be an albatross around the neck of production, and now that games are firmly being developed with new consoles in mind, teams do not want to repeat the process." Now, since making those claims, McClure has privated their account, limiting who can see those tweets, but there does seem to be a growing sentiment of frustration around the Series S. VGC also pointed out that back in May, Alexander Battaglia of Digital Foundry said on the DF podcast, "We've heard from multiple developers that they kind of feel the Series S is a bit of a pain at times. Not the CPU or GPU power there, but it's more likely the memory constraints." If you remember, Microsoft actually tried to address some of those constraints with a new software development kit that helped to free up, quote, "hundreds of additional megabytes of memory," unquote, on the Series S. So obviously there is a bit of a history already here with there being some pain points with the Series S, and now it looks like going forward, there might be even more issues. There are, of course, developers who have come out in defense of the Series S saying it's not a potato, and clearly there's also a lot of value here for players. Sure, it doesn't go toe-to-toe with the Xbox Series X when it comes to playing new games, but its price point of $300 combined with a basic Game Pass subscription, which is $10 a month, makes the Xbox Series S probably the most economic console choice in all of gaming. On the other hand, if the Xbox Series S actually is holding modern consoles back, that's going to become more apparent as we move into the next year of new releases on consoles. All right, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and for more video game news and updates, stay tuned right here to Inside Gaming.